Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SA Accounting Academy. Here's a short clip on one of our previous webinars. I hope that you really do enjoy it.
But we are doing like an 8th session and possibly one that is a bit more familiar to us than the previous sessions have been in terms of the fact that we're looking at accounting. So the 8th and 9th session, we're going to be looking at the accounting in the PFMA and the MFMA. And this is really where we start looking at GRAP and the modified cash approach versus IFRS and who and what and why and how. So I actually feel like I've woken up now and sort of like I'm sitting here in the wings going, this is my stuff. So very, very excited about it. But of course, Bronwyn is always in the driving seat. I'm just the co-driver. So Bronwyn, I will be handing over to in a sec. You know who we are by now, I'm hoping. If not, these are us. So I am somebody more familiar with the private sector than the public sector. I'm learning just as much as you are, I think, from Bronwyn as we go through this. But I think it's really, really important. I'll be running a session on ISRA in a couple of weeks about professional citizenship. And I keep on coming back to thinking about what I'm learning in this course about being about thinking about the country and thinking about the way things should work. And as a professional accountant, what is my responsibility to make things work the way they should? We've got the laws, we've got the tools, we've got the systems. It's now up to us to make sure that those laws and systems work. So without much further ado, I'm going to hand across to Bronwyn. I hope you're warm and safe wherever you may be. If you are joining us for the first time at this point, you are coming in at the tail end of the course. It's an 11-session course. And so you basically, there's 7 other sessions that we've already recorded and that we've already gone through and had very fun and interesting discussions. And they are available on back order if anybody is wanting to have a look at them. So you are more than welcome to get the recordings we've already done and fill in some of the gaps as to how we got here and where we're going to moving forward. So yeah, we are basically 2/3 in, and welcome and enjoy. So, literally handing over the podium.
Oh, thanks. Right. Good morning, everyone. Nice to be back. We usually have sessions every 2 weeks, and so we've had an extra week off.
And next week we're back.
And next week we're back again. So boom, boom. That was just to cater for a short week, which in the lives of accountants happens so seldom. That was last week, Karen, was a short week, right? Women's Day. All right. So yeah, as Karen was saying, we went through quite a lot of concepts in public financial management to get to the point where we're now discussing accounting. And it is, if you are joining for the first time, I really do recommend that you do go and order on the back order the previous sessions. And the reason for that is when we get to accounting, and we're going to do the PFMA cycle today, and next week we're going to do MFMA, so that we're discussing at a high level the annual reporting accounting requirements that are special, unique, or different in government in the PFMA cycle and in the MFMA cycle. Right, so in provincial, national government, and in local government. And then after that, we're doing performance management, and then we're going to do auditing in the last session. And the reason why I think it's just so important that you understand the whole public financial management journey up until this point is that most of the principles and concepts involved in PFM as a concept is what we're really embodying in the reporting. Now, the reporting comes at the end of it. So reporting is historical in its nature, and it is very much driven by the objective of financial reporting. So we understand that as accountants very, very well. We understand, those of us who've been in the profession for many, many years will have understood how the conceptual frameworks of accounting internationally and financial reporting have evolved in the last 20-odd years, from historical cost basis to very different, but fair value type accounting and perspectives. But the objective of financial reporting is always to provide useful information to a specific type of user or a specific group of users, which are general purpose here. We're still focusing on general purpose financial reporting. And the importance of identifying who the users are and what the elements or components or qualitative characteristics of useful information are. What are those qualitative characteristics? What are the elements of financial reporting? How are they defined? And how do we apply those, right? So the concepts in PFM are really important in defining and helping understand how we apply the accounting principles in a conceptual framework for a financial reporting framework to the public sector. How do we change information which is transactional and debit and credit from a linear piece of information or a transaction with no personality, if you want to call it that, into something that is useful in a public sector or a service delivery perspective? So I really do recommend that all of this stuff, the level that we took it from, PFM in general, constitution, legislation that enables the rights in the constitution, all the way through the concepts of PFM, service delivery, budget, strategic planning, who's responsible for what are the governance structures, etc., all of that stuff. Which legislation applies, who's responsible for systems of internal control, and all of these things that are built around the concepts in PFM that are supposed to generate the information that is used to determine the needs for service delivery, to plan for them, to budget for them, to execute them, to record all the information relating to that service delivery, whether it is in terms of actual service delivery performance or the transactions that underlie the delivery of that performance, which then is the internal control system over the financial reporting that we use to generate the information that forms the basis of what we are reporting in what we're discussing today and next week. So it is important that we get there. The financial reporting is not something that you can come in with one layer and thinking, I understand debits and credits, I understand money, so I can do this. Because you cannot report fairly presented financial statements in the public sector unless you understand PFM and service delivery, unless you understand the objective of that financial report is to report on service delivery performance and to provide useful information to the users. So the session objectives today is then again, it's a high level understanding. And I think it's important for me to emphasize this. This whole series that Karen and I have put together on PFM is a high level understanding. So each one of these items you could drill down into in its own individual course. So again, accounting in the PFMA cycle, and you'll see later on, there are a number of different frameworks. There are at least 3 different accounting frameworks that apply in the PFMA cycle to various different entities. And each one of those, I mean, we take 3 years to study IFRS at undergrad level. You could take as long to study GRAP. So we are literally giving a high level review. There are detailed courses that we can present on GRAP and on the modified cash standard, which we're going through today. It is again a high level overview. It's really zoning in on the essential principal items of these things and what are the high level differences that we need to be aware of accounting and financial reporting in the PFMA cycle. They are high level. So a high level understanding of the ASB, so the Accounting Standards Board, as a role player in the accounting and reporting, financial reporting space in government, right, in South Africa. And then to identify the conceptual framework that is used for general purpose financial reporting that is then published by the ASB and is applicable to the PFMA entities. So where do we go to find out which reporting framework needs to be used and what is the conceptual framework? Then we're also going to discuss, and this is not necessarily in order, all of these objectives will come through in everything that we do. How do we identify the legislation that prescribes the relevant accounting framework? So it would be super easy if in South Africa, in government, everybody used the same stuff, but they don't. They really don't. So as I said, there are at least 3 different accounting frameworks, and it's not just that accounting framework. When reporting in the public sector, there is the accounting framework, which is different in 3 different scenarios at least. Plus, there is additional legislated reporting requirements, like we have IFRS or IFRS for SMEs, plus additional Companies Act reporting requirements, like on directors' emoluments, etc.
I hope that you enjoyed that video. For more of our webinar videos, go to www.accountingacademy.co.za. Thank you and have a lovely day.